So that's the next train leaving. And even though it's a one day, they are not opening the door fully, so I won't be able to get in. Usually when it's cold, they open the door fully, so you are free. But even though it's a one day, they're not opening it. So they said this MTSCO lever is one behind it. It's been menacing for New Yorkers and get us out of the subway. Two enemies. So I would have left that other train. That one was leaving first. I was just because I don't really like this train. It's not spacious enough. And I just, I don't know if they're freezing or blocking the train, so they're making up light. So the R train and the two train are the ones that is really spacious enough for. So they just lied on me on the R train. The police, so I was blocking everywhere. I wasn't blocking everywhere. So they're making up lights against me. I told them to get off the R train. So they just, kicking me around. Like, just trying to mention to them. So they deprive me of sleep at night and torture me. They say it's very easy for someone to die of a heart attack. They don't sleep well. So my mother, she used to work as a homemaker and, she work all night long, not sleep, and her blood pressure kept rising higher. And I just joined into frame mental illness and got killed early. My father also died of, while this case was going on, this Trump was harassing me, saying Africans are shitty country. I was criticizing him. They tried to run me over with his car after I was kicked out of his hotel in Taj Mahal in Jersey, for going there to gamble. And I went there to use the bathroom, also had a casino card. And the staff called the police on me and said they don't want to collect me. This is my anti-diarrhea medicine. So I recorded everything as I was going to sue from. I came back to New York, met the Regana, was going to be helping with politics. And the police went and beat the Regana dead after that. I was trying to get a guy to help me with the coffee because against the police. So I was also going to sue Trump. I felt Arizona could help me. The person that beat Arizona did. So I've been experiencing all of these issues. Then around that time also Trump was during Trump's first term. Anytime I talk about this Trump, that he tried to run me over with his car and stuff, a woman will come, she sounded like she was Polish, and Trump's wife is Polish, but it's not Trump's wife. In Brooklyn, of course, he said you need to go back home. So you have a house somewhere, you need to go there. I said, I don't have a house, so you do. Soon after I told my father died in Nigeria, mysteriously, they said death was suspicious, and they said he willed me a house. So I was like, why would this Polish woman know that my father had a will and he was going to die and will me a house? So apparently my father's death was suspicious and was just to put me out of the country. And he said what Trump was doing was, if you're a green card holder like me and you left America, he's not going to let you back in. So, but I didn't fall for that. I tried to go back to Nigeria to bury my father, but my father's family buried them early. I told them I wanted to do an autopsy. They didn't answer me and buried them early. So I didn't go back to Nigeria. So when I decided I didn't go back to Nigeria, weeks later, the police beat me and stole my green card. They said another way they can deport you is stealing your green card and you try to renew it, they'll deport you. So I call it accidental deportation. So in Brooklyn, yeah, I'm in Brooklyn, I'm now in Queens. So this was an incident that happened close to each other. As I'm trying to hold Trump accountable, my friend Eric Garner was beat to death. He was going to be helping with the court papers then in 2014. And in 2019, all of a sudden, Trump became president by 2019. And my father was suddenly dead. People were saying his death was suspicious. I told them I want an autopsy, but the Nigerian people didn't get back to him and buried him before I could go back to Nigeria. So that really scared me because I would have used my green card and it wouldn't have allowed me to come back to America. I guess it was just to allow me to go back to Nigeria and say Trump wouldn't let you come back to America. Then they saw I didn't leave. They were telling me to leave. That was a Polish woman. She sounded like she said, you got to leave. Go to your home. You have to go home somewhere. I said, I don't have to go home. She said, no, you're lying. You have to go home. You know, I used to be in Brooklyn, and around that area, the police came and accosted me. Eric Adam was the borough president, you know, and it's transit police, and they were menacing me at that time, Eric Adam used to work for the transit police. And that's 2019, when that woman said, you have to go home. You have to go home. And the police came and arrested me, put me in psych ward. They said this Trump has a connection to the NYU Psychiatric Hospital. His friend is the director there, and I said he also is one of their ceremonial directors because they said that hospital is being run by the Police Athletic League, and Trump is the head of the Police Athletic League. And it's like an organization that parleys with the police, And they put me in that psych ward and lied against me, framed mental illness on me. You know, before that, my mother framed mental illness on my mother's daughter's blood friend, framed mental illness on my mother and got her killed in 2015. In 2001, those daughters also framed mental illness on me and got me held up at the psychiatric hospital in Pittsburgh. After my mother took me to go with her to Pittsburgh, I didn't really want to go because I was the family they used to do to my mother. Said in Nigeria, said they wanted my mother to bring them to America. And as soon as they got to America, they beat up the white family they were staying with. And they had to put them in juvenile prison. So those drugs believe in violence if they can't get their way. So my mother was trying to lure me to go stay with them. I told them, no, your daughters are too violent. They have a criminal history in America. I said, no, I don't want a problem. I had an immigration case. I was standing to in 2001. So my mother lured me. So okay, she told me to follow her to Pittsburgh. They were only going there briefly for one day. She said she had some documents to get in Pittsburgh. So she put me on a Greyhound bus with her and we went to Pittsburgh. As soon as I got to Pittsburgh, I noticed my mother got back into the car with my mother's daughter, Flora, to drive her to the Greyhound station to come back to New York. So I got into the car also, and the driver told me to get her. As soon as I got out, the driver ran me over the car. And I fell on the floor, and I was wounded, and the people were watching what was going on. I just sped away, and the other daughter blindly called the police. They always tap him to attract people. They beat up the white family, tapped him. And the other daughter called the police, and the police came and arrested me, said I was crazy. I was having, I had a weapon. And at that time, that daughter was fascinated with the way Diallo was killed. Always talks about it. That daughter likes to gamble. Always talk about the way Diallo was killed. In 1999, the New York City police fired multiple shots at Diallo. They thought he had a weapon. So in 2001, my mother's daughter was trying to get me killed 2 years later, like Diallo, because she thought that Diallo family won a lot of money. I was trying to win a lot of money because she likes to gamble. This girl likes to gamble. And she thought this was a get rich ticket. So she and the other set me up to kill me. Told my mother to lure me to come to Pittsburgh, and they ran me over with the car. While I was in pain, called the police on me. They had a dangerous weapon on me, and they brought the emergency unit of the Pittsburgh police, and they surrounded the area. And they took me to the hospital. I almost got me killed to make money. They call it ghetto lottery. If you can set somebody up and call the police, kill them, and claim the money as their family member. So our daughters were involved in that kind of scam. And when I got to the Pittsburgh hospital called Mercy Hospital, so they detained me there as a dangerous person. So I told them I'm not dangerous, I was just set up. And I told them I have an immigration case to return to New York. So they called my mother's daughter to ask her, is it true that I have an immigration case to return to? And the daughter probably lied further that I didn't have any immigration case. I was just imagining. So I called my lawyer in New York and they called the hospital. I told that's the name of the lawyer. And they confirmed to the hospital I did have an immigration case. That was when the hospital discharged me and they apologized to me that they were very sorry. They didn't know my mother's daughter was lying to the police and lying to everybody all along. But they never arrested her. 14 years later, my mother's daughter continued her acts, came to New York, lied on my mother. She was trying to get paid. She was trying to cause a killing and get the police department held responsible and get her paid. And came to New York with her other daughter or her other sister Flora. They always stuck team together and lied to my mother that she's crazy. She needs a catechism. As my mother was in the hospital in 2015 here in New York. My mother said that drugs were poisoning her food in Pennsylvania, trying to kill her early. So they can sue the police department in New York, saying, my mother died from heart attack, from the police vacating her home wrongfully. You know, well, my mother didn't die from the heart attack. My mother said, but they were poisoning her food though. And she was getting symptoms of heart attack, so she got on the train on the bus to come back to New York to escape those daughters, because my mother knew those daughters were criminally minded. They had, you know, they had they had encounters with the criminal justice system whereby they both ganged up to beat up the white family. They were staying with the president. You know, so my mother does know they were capable of committing crime. So my mother was noticing anytime this volunteer gave her food, my mother said she start having strong pain in her chest, boom, boom, like the food was laced with synthetic marijuana or laced with counterfeit poison. So my mother used to watch a lot of crime shows, so she knew what was up, and she knew those daughters were criminally minded. So my mother got on the ground to come back to New York, and they said while she was on the ground bus, she had a heart attack on the bus, but the Korean bus kept driving her. Like an animal, they didn't call the ambulance to airlift her to the hospital. So they put my mother on the ground like a cargo. and drove her to New York like that. And she survived all this, ended up in the Bellevue hospital. And when the doctors heard that she survived all this, they came and told the hospital to lock her up. You know, just inside more panic than my mother. So when my mother saw her daughter in the hospital, telling the hospital to lock her up, and said my mother collapsed again and didn't get back up. And this Ericanum has been taunting me, so they're going to use the police to be locking us homeless up. I said his new name is Esther. And there was some inside panicking me. There was a black American rapper that produced a drill song. As this Ericanum was taunting me, say, get out of New York, you're not welcome anymore. Go to Pierre or something. And say say you're soft looking. I was like, this black American rapper was insulting me. So they got the hood against me. They said this Ricardo is part of a street gang. And they were making me feel unwelcome in New York. And the police will arrest me, choke me, put me in the psych ward also. As this Ricardo was the borough president of New York. And something drastic happened, I believe, on October 7th. What year was this? I believe, was it last year? Yeah, that Hamas attacked Israel. So, black Americans were attacking all over America, all over. I would go to Newark to go take a shower in the homeless services center of Newark. And some of the black American workers, they told me, you're not welcome in Newark either. You're not welcome in New York, New Jersey, get out of our state. Get out of here. You know, and they were just harassing me everywhere. Black American street gangs would jump me everywhere. So I'm not welcome in America. I just regard them was echoing what they were saying. I was saying, no more barbecue in the subway. So my name is Babatunde. I write a children, but people taunt me and call me Baba. I'm a female, I'm a transgender, but they still call me a masculine name just to taunt me and taunt my Nigerian name. So I used to go to churches and people call me Baba, Baba. I don't like that name, and but they will call me Baba just to taunt me, just to make fun of my femininity. So this Erica must have gotten wind of how I get taunted. So I used to ride the Q train to use the bathroom at the train station, bathroom for women. And they would send black American guys to accost me in the bathroom, and the police would join with them, so I'm not welcome anywhere, you know. So on July 20th, 2019, I went to use the bathroom there. Ricardo was the borough president of Brooklyn, and they brought their black American gang, it was a black gang. Some of them are Caribbean, and they accosted me in the bathroom again. And they were menacing in the bathroom, so I was recording, and I said, I'm going to post this video online. I said people would help me because, you guys are menacing me too much. So I left the bathroom, Prospect Park, took the Q train out of that station, and so I eventually switched the R train, got to J Street. And I got off the train. I stepped out of the train at J Street, like I suspected the other train had left without me. And they locked me up in there. Normally they leave the doors open, especially this is one day. It's getting warmer now. But for some reason they make it hard for me to get out. I like the two doors open together. So in the winter they leave the doors open so I can freeze, and when it's warmer, they leave the door closed so I can't get out. So this labor, the MTSU, so they're going to be doing things to harass us homeless, just to have us arrested or have a breakdown, a meltdown, to call it in America, and get you killed. Menace you to they kill you. He doesn't want homeless in the subway. He's a white CEO of the MTA here in New York. So the management of the Department of State, I was just sitting down with my eyes closed and the police told me to get up and leave on the outside. So then they sleep deprived me and they said, you can have a heart attack if they're constantly sleep deprived. This was one of the ways my mother, her heart, you know, started having issues with the heart. Because she was working for a business as a whole night aide, and she said they would give her jobs if she won't sleep at night. They would give her some of the most challenging cases. And so our blood pressure was all spiraling out of control, because he wouldn't sleep at night a lot of time. Yeah, the drugs took advantage of that and got her killed by framing mental illness and just to get her more. After they became aware, that they saw her in the hospital and they were just trying to get her killed early so they can use that as a meal ticket to extort the city of New York in a ghetto lottery scam. The daughters have been participating in that scam since at least 2001, but they tried to use me. They pissed off police to kill me early, called the police on me, lied about my mental health, said I didn't have any immigration case. I was just imagining stuff. To the hospital, Mercy Hospital, and I called my lawyer to talk. The lawyer, the Piato, spoke with the hospital. We called them from New York. I was in Pennsylvania in the hospital, Pittsburgh, and they told them I did have an immigration case and I needed to get to. And the hospital apologized, said they didn't know that my mother's brother's family and for were lying to them all along. This was how I came back to New York. So I barely keep in touch with those daughters, but my mother was keeping in touch with them, and my mother said they were poisoning her food after my mother went to live with them when the police took her home in New York in 2010. And so my mother had to come back on the Greyhound bus because she had a heart attack. And instead of the Greyhound bus to really lift my mother out of the because they were on the expressway. My mother had a heart attack, and she informed the driver, and they left her on the bus and drove her to New York like a cargo, like a meat, and dumped her at the Port Authority on 42nd Street, where they took her to the hospital. And my mother survived, and the doctor showed up to the hospital and told the hospital to lock her up. They said my mother collapsed again and died. You know, and the torture doesn't stop there. Then I've been getting accosted by black American gangs telling me to get out of New York. There's a black American drill rapper. I don't know the name of this rapper. She might be from Pennsylvania also. I don't know where she's from. But she's a female and she's saying, get out of New York. You're not welcome anymore. And I think that song was referencing me. They used to play it on Power 1051, New York hip hop station. And this Ricardo was also joining in. And it would say, no more barbecue, no more barbecue. I'm Baba. I always ride the Q train. And the how black American guys approached me when I tried to use the bathroom on Foster Park when the Q train gets to that station. So on July 20, 2019, I went to rode the Q train to use the bathroom. I was being managed by some black gangs there. So I got back on the Q train, fled from the bathroom, switched to the R train, while I was fleeing, I was accosted by MTA worker who was a Spanish guy. He said, "You're done today." Because I was threatening those gang that I was going to post the video online. I was how they keep menacing me. And by night time on that July 2019, where I normally go to use the internet at the Berry station on the airline, I'll get accosted by black American gangs there also. They have a charging booth in that station. So I'll use that station to upload my videos and stuff. And I said I was going to upload my video. So they were got the pre-warning that I was planning to upload my video that day. So they sent a Turkish guy to grab me while I was around. I was upstairs from that train station. Just to manage me, to get me arrested. Was grabbing me in a sexual way. So stop grabbing me, sir. You're molesting me. And I said the police camera is recording. I said this is Barry down 4th Avenue. I was recording him also. Soon after the police arrived. I said, you're under arrest. I said, yeah, a guy was grabbing me. I said, why? He said, because you were fighting with somebody. I said, yeah, a guy was grabbing me in a sexual way. The police camera recorded it, and the police knocked me down. So I was speaking, and the guy choking my mouth. Because I wouldn't be able to speak. I just told my quick I went and jumped in his like what? So they were just inciting a attack on me, gang attack on me everywhere I go. Like I'm an African animal that needs to be torn in pieces. So this is a mob. This is a mob attacking me. So they put me in the psych ward. I called the Nigerian embassy. They didn't show up, but they promised to show up at the courthouse because I told them the case has been referred to the court. Because I was being locked up in a psych ward wrongfully for 7 days. And so the Nigerian embassy said they wait for me in the court. And the hospital never brought me to court. Diverted. On the day of the court hearing, I was prepared to go to court. I was ready. They told me you're not going to court. And they put me in a van. I said, where are you taking me to? And they told me to shut up, get in the van. And they drove me away from Brooklyn and went and came and dumped me in Manhattan. In an area I didn't even know where I was at because I wasn't used to that area. I had to beg people for money to get back to Brooklyn. But the court case was already over. So the Nigerian embassy promised to help me, but they stopped contacting me again. You know, even though they promised to help me resolve this matter, to find out why I was getting kidnapped everywhere. So I believe the Nigerian government would be interested in seeing me dead because they said, if you die, you know, the police will give money to your family, and maybe they hope my mother's daughters will take the money and bring it to Nigeria. Because the Nigerian government is broke, the oil prices have been crashing. Nigeria relies on oil. So in case I'm killed, any money shouldn't be given to any family member. I don't have any children. I don't plan on having children. I'm not married. Only civil rights groups should administer my estate if I'm killed or if I'm locked up somewhere. If I'm unable to take care of myself, because sometimes they try to hit me with cars, and only civil rights groups should administer my estate, civil rights groups from around the world, and get justice for me and my late mother, and give the rest to charity, especially people that have been deported under Trump. Provided these people agree to, you know, provided people claim they suffer xenophobia like me, provided they suffer xenophobia like me, you know. So only this is how any asset I have should be disseminated in case I'm killed. So they don't let me sleep at night, and you know, so back to my original theme on how this to further show this Eric Adam is participation in torture I'm going through, and he may be participating in this torture to assist Bloomberg. So Bloomberg was the mayor in New York City in 2013 when the Brooklyn Federal Court said is racial profiling of black New Yorkers is illegal, and they said that method they copied it from the Israeli government profiling of the Palestinians. They said this Bloomberg may be an Israeli asset, which means he's an undercover Israeli agent. They said a lot of the Israelis, Jewish people, even though this Bloomberg is a Jewish American, they said, but the Jewish community is closely knitted, and allegedly, and a lot of them may work for the government as spy for their home country, Israel. So they said this Bloomberg is one of the Jewish agents, and he was using a Jewish method against Black Americans, and he has gotten so many Black Americans killed. Like Eric Garner was trying to help him, my poor people against the police in 2014, and the police went and beat him dead, choke him dead, and another Black American, Sean Bell. So me being witness to Eric Garner being killed, especially after the court told Bloomberg to stop and frisk, in 2013 and 2014, the police continued it. So I believe this Bloomberg will be frightened that he will be arrested for the Uganda killing. So he went and got his protege to run for mayor, Eric Adams, and to get the police to kill me also. And they've been making attempts to kill me in 2019. The police surrounded me and killed me. And this Eric Adams, they say, is used to the street culture. They've been having so many gangs, police gangs, civilian gangs attacking me everywhere. This morning I was on the outside, the police told me to leave the outside. So they deprived me of sleep, saying you're blocking everyone. So I'm not blocking everywhere. I always, you know, create leave space. I've been riding the train for 15 years, and there's been no incident, knocking on wood, of anybody being, harmed or about me being on the train, you know, and so I told them, stop menacing me, you know, and it seems they're just trying to mob me to death, which is against the Anti-Lynching Act President Vice President Kamala Harris signed in 2021. So any mob violence, especially in a train station like this, which can be considered terrorism on the train station, which subjects people to life in prison. So this Bloomberg and Eric Adams role needs to be investigated in the way and being managed. This may be a cover up of for Bloomberg to cover up his illegal method of and frisk against blacks that's gotten so many blacks killed. Government, my mother also vacated under that broken windows approach. So many blacks has gotten killed. My mother ended up dying from the daughter's taunting her after she was very, very vulnerable. I was in the psych ward. I was in the Bellevue Hospital after she was poisoned in Pittsburgh while she was trying to stay with the daughters just to avoid being homeless on the street because the police took her home in New York. So back to Bloomberg and Eric Adams' possible partnership. You know, so they said, so I was being managed here in New York, like I was saying. So they'll play the radio on the radio, go get out of New York, they're not welcome anymore. They were referencing some of the abuse I suffered and stuff. There was a drill rapper. I don't remember the name of this drill rapper. And she released that song. And as soon as that song came out, anywhere I go, the Black American guys were chatting. So I would go to Newark just to hide there to take a shower at the community center for New Jersey. It's a homeless service. And the Black American workers, they told me to stop coming to New Jersey. I'm not welcome there either. I'm like, what is going on? So anywhere I go, people be making fun of me, holding their nose, like I stink. And soon enough, this Eric Adam went to Israel and was holding his nose while meeting with Netanyahu. They said it was on planned visit. As the heat was on, it's like they were just trying to provoke me to death, trying to get him to commit suicide. So they were taunting me, you know, and anywhere I go, people be spraying me, say you're not welcome here, and the stores also, they just be taunting me. So, and soon enough, this Harakadam took a flight and went to Israel and was holding his nose and talking to Netanyahu. The newspaper in New York took a picture. Headline, first page, New York Post, New York Daily News. Eric Adam meets with Netanyahu. Eric Adam was holding his nose. And Netanyahu was just smiling. Because I guess this Bloomberg told Netanyahu Eric Adam is a good guy, is there whatever, so Netanyahu didn't think it was an insult. Apparently it was me that might be insulting, you know. So I think the Hamas found out about it that this Arikada may be an Israeli agent. This Arikada may be working for Bloomberg and may be trying to get me killed. So Bloomberg walks away free as an Israeli agent. So they said on October 7, October is Nigeria birth month. 7 is my birth month. I was born on July 8. They said on October 7, the Hamas attacked Israel last year. They said the Israeli government wasn't expecting that attack was just sporadic. I said they have informants within Hamas that will let them know. So it seems that was an apparent retaliation to send a message to Bloomberg that, that we are aware of you trying to escape prison by killing a witness. I don't think the Hamas like me because I'm a transsexual. I'm not a Muslim. But I think they were just using me as a port to send a message to each other that we are aware you're trying to escape going to prison in New York, and you're using this black American guy to turn this African. So we're going to kill people on October 7th, which is Nigeria's birth month. October is Nigeria's birth month from British rule, Independence Day month. And July is so here I am, stuck in the middle of all this. I can't get a lawyer, and they just trying to silence me, And this Trump also joined in, said no criminal charges to be brought against Eric Adams. It's going to be useful to Trump because I'm trying to get Trump in prison for trying to hit me with his car also. And I said this Trump went to a WWE event, SmackDown. It's like he may be sending a message to the New York police. He also sent his transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, no pun intended, to New York to say, the subway need to get rid of shitty homeless, say subway shitty. He said, I also describe African country as shithole. So it's like they're forming a criminal network as like an oligarchy, saying, we can escape any criminal charges by killing witnesses. So I don't want to be part of the scheme. I just want to be heard in court. I just want to be heard by the U.S. Congress. So, this has to be investigated. They're depriving me of sleep, and there's no one going to survive. They don't let me sleep, and this is the kind of I've reached out to him because there's a Brooklyn court order that they have to give hotel room to those vacated by the police. For anyone vacated like me. And it's been given hotel room to black Americans. I posted a record on Twitter. And it's depriving hotel room. So they're living on the street on purpose. I got welfare, and I tried to get the domestic violence shelter because my mother's brothers, ran me over with a car. And the Save Horizon I called told me I don't qualify. So that's not enough domestic abuse. So they're telling all the agencies in New York to deprive me of shelter, deprive me of everything. I also, after they stole my green card, Biden made it easy to get welfare. You don't need to show your green card. Just show any. So I went and got welfare card. And Eric Adams said they should remove pictures of the welfare card. So right now, my welfare card doesn't have my picture. So I've been trying to get New York City ID. So they told me they don't accept voice card anymore. They said Eric Adam removed the picture, so it's no longer good as a photo ID. I was like, what is going on? Why would Eric Adam try to get me stopped? So they don't want to have the photo ID. Because I was trying to also become a Uber driver because I'm trying to get a driver's license, but they stole my green card after they arrested me and put me in the site for 2019. And and say if you try to apply for a new green card, the immigration will arrest you and deport you. So but the only thing was they made it easy to get a welfare under Biden, what's it called? But Eric removed the picture, so that they keep me stuck in a circle, never ending circle, and it's just like they were trying to kill me for this Bloomberg, so I won't be able to ever testify against them, and so we escaped being held culpable for its Israeli type policy that was used to kill back Americans, stop and frisk with the broken federal court rule. It's an illegal policy. The US Constitution doesn't allow it, but its police continued it, and they were using it to disenfranchise black Americans, running us homeless. They used that policy to get rid of me and my mother from our home. They just claim, your apartment, is illegal and kick you out without a court order. So they need to investigate the Bloomberg and this other kind of partnership in which, on my birth month, 7, I'm a Nigerian, October is Nigeria birth month from British rule, and July is my birth month. The Hamas went and bombed Israel. After Eric Adam went to Israel and was holding his nose with some meeting with Netanyahu. They said this Eric Adam may be working for Bloomberg. Bloomberg may be an Israeli spy, an Israeli agent. And I've been trying to get Bloomberg arrested for his police department killing Eric Garner, which is an illegal method.